me, teaching as doctrines the commandments of men. So these were teachings that were not instituted by Moses. G'day, mate. How are you?
Good, Phil.
Good, thanks, mate. When the law was given to Moses, these were teachings that were added on. Hey, mate. So what we see here is an intrusion into the personal space of these people, of these Jewish people, and they're trying to intrude into now the personal space of the disciples. For laying aside the commandments of God, you have held the tradition of men, the washing of pitchers and cups, and many other such things you do. Let me just say, these people were under the Mosaic law. It was part of what they were meant to do. But it wasn't part, this idealism that they'd created in stroking their own egos on top of the law was not part of the Mosaic law. The men over the centuries had added to the law, and it became destructive and unnecessary, but they demanded it, and that was all there was to it. As we go on, he said to them, "All too well you reject the commandment of God, that you may keep your tradition." See, when we add to the gospel, or when we take away from the gospel, we are in many ways, well, we actually are, I'm getting tired of watering it down. We're rejecting that what the Lord Jesus Christ did in his finished work isn't enough. Now, this is something I have to credit to my pastor, Pastor Barry. He's passed away now, a wonderful man. He always used to say, the finished work of Christ is enough. But by nature, we want to pursue more than that. We want to give more than that, and that doesn't make it right. Pastor was right, you know, the finished work of Christ is enough. But that's hard to accept when you're a motivated person and you want to do more than what's necessary for the call of religion. Now, I've got to exercise my ankle, so we're going to walk the length of this oval and back today, viewers, and we'll continue the teaching while we do it. I'll get through this ditch, I'll put my thongs there, and we'll start walking across this oval. Try and get my thong off there. Right, here we go. For Moses said, "Honor your father and mother, and he who curses father or mother, let him be put to death." Now, I want to tell you something about father and mother. My father and mother. My father was a womanizer. He was a jockey, a very handsome young man, strong. You have to be a professional jockey. And he was a terrible womanizer. In fact, as a matter of fact, my mother became very, very ill. I've told you this before. And she spent 18 months in one go in hospital. She lost a kidney. She was given syphilis from the father. Now, just recently, as recent as yesterday, this is yesterday, when I had my accident, I sold him my car. half price, because I couldn't drive it. It was a manual and I needed to have an automatic transmission. So I sold my car to my father for half price. Now he told me he got a loan that was worth more than the value of the car, and then he turned up with just, sorry if I look scruffy, I'm in them, we're up and into it, but he turned up with just 1,000 short, actually 500 short, 1,000 short of what he said he got the loan of, and 500 short of what the value of the car was. I'll put it back on for the scenery viewers. I just want to say hello. So I'm saying to myself, this man, even at the age of over 70, still can't honour the simplest of things that he commits himself to. So yesterday I rang him up. This is true, viewers, this is true, this is what you're dealing with, and you're supposed to honour your mother and your father. I rang him up to see how he was going, against my conscience, because he's getting old now and he's been a bit crook, and asked him how he was going, and then he tells me all his ohs and woes, which people will when they've let you down. They'll exaggerate their circumstances, and he slips, get this, he slips and tells me that he sold the car. Now that was one thing. Before he slipped and told me that he'd sold the car that I'd sold him, because it was starting to get, there was aggravation starting to form, because he hadn't paid the last 500, he was dodging it, which is what these people do. His partner rings up and asks about holidays and where to go and all the rest of it, and I'm thinking, now we're lining up holidays, he still hasn't met his financial commitments. This guy's out of control, he hasn't changed a bit. So he slips and tells me that he sold the car. So I said, how come you're looking to go on holidays and you still haven't paid me for the car? And now you've sold the car and you still haven't made the payment for the car. I said, you've sold a car that you don't even own. So I'm sitting there last night, I said, oh look, just don't worry about it, fix it up when I see you next, which won't be for a long time, to his convenience. But I'm sitting there last night and I'm wondering, how does all this work as a Christian? I've confronted the issue. It's probably brought, you know, some conscience to the man. We're going to go back and then we'll get back on the bike. You know, it's probably tweaked his conscience terribly. But I've gone, how does all this work? And that pattern that was given to me by my mother through shunning the father out of the way in which he harmed her, we were taught just to cut people off. If they're going to harm you, just cut them off, which really wasn't right either, because it caused me to shrink away from a lot of positive relationships. You begin to misjudge outcomes, and you don't finish things. Now some of you people might have had trouble finishing things. This can come from an underlying spirit of abandonment. I don't want to get into psychology because I'm not a professional psychologist. I'm a Christian psychologist, but I'm not a professional, as it were, government accredited psychologist. But abandonment has a terrible impact on the spirit of a person and the thinking of a person. And so when I come to Christ, which is a story in itself, I began to learn that this pushing people away and cutting them off at any sign of trouble was very, very evil and very, very harmful and very, very hurtful and very, very destructive. In fact, it's a form of shunning. And I heard a lot of people as a young boy, particularly girlfriends, because of this. It creates a terrible sense of insecurity, and you run at any sign of danger to your feelings. This might be helping somebody there today. So I'm sitting there last night wondering about this father I said to him, the shadows are on the top of the mountains. He goes, what do you mean? I said, well, you're in the sunset of your life, you're 70 odd year old, you haven't got long left, and you're still leaving this trail of destruction behind you. So I'm lying there on my own last night, and I'm thinking, what do I do with this father of mine? And I don't know if it was God or what, or just a recollection of the scriptures, but it come to me that, g'day viewers, I need to honour him regardless. And a peace come over me. The situation got easier. It got the aggravatedness of the way in which he's ruined this car deal got easier. So I left that at that. I thought, regardless of what's going on here, I've got to honour this man. So yeah, Dr. Jason Morrison, theologist again. I just want to say thank you for watching the videos, and I hope you got plenty of self-rediscovery and freedom out of it. If you watched it on YouTube, please share or like, maybe even comment. If you watched it on Facebook, like, comment, share. But most of all, get out and live. This isn't a rehearsal. You've got a one-off life. Don't let your loyalty and your faithfulness blind you to the life that you should be experiencing. Till the next video, thank you for watching, and bye for now.